Welcome back to the RGV Sports Show. We are here with your Week 7 preview, breaking down everything going, all the high school football action going on across the Rio Grande Valley here in Week 7. Teams locked up in district play, so it's a big week for a lot of teams here in the Rio Grande Valley on the football field coming up Thursday, Friday, and Saturday.
Garcia covering 31-6A.
And we're happy to be here with you. Another big week of football here in the Rio Grande Valley. And as usual, we always start off these Wednesday RGV Sports shows by breaking down the newest and latest RGVsports.com top 10 poll. So not much shakeup from last week to this week. All 10 teams remain the same. Just a little bit of movement here and there in the poll. So we're going to quickly run through that because there weren't too many changes. So number one, still like last week, Edinburgh with a 5-1 record. They received two first place votes, and McColloch Memorial is still at number two. Although they have four first place votes, but they're 4 points behind Edinburgh for that number one overall spot. Even though McColloch Memorial has a win over Edinburgh on their record, so that's the number two teams. And one small change we had. In at number three, we have a tie between the Harlingen High Cardinals and the Sharyland Pioneer Diamondbacks, two teams that are 4-1. Both teams receive 55 points from our 8 voters. So, and those teams, when they played in week one, that was a 42-41 game in favor of Harlingen High. So those two teams seem closely in the eyes of our voters here at rgvsports.com. And another change, up one spot from number 6 to number 5, the unbeaten 5-0 McAllen Row Warriors, who picked up a big win last week over La Jolla Waters Lincoln. And another change, McAllen Row moves up, Mission High moves down a spot, down to number 6 after their 13-10 overtime win over McAllen High. And Mission Veterans, they were at number 7 last week. They're at number 7 again. They were on a bye in week 6. So, and they still at number 7 here in week 7, and up a spot each. Westaco High Panthers and the La Feria Lions. Westaco High and La Feria jump up. San Benito falls down from they were tied for number 7 last week. They dropped down to number 10 in this week's RGVsports.com top 10 poll. So we went through that quickly. Not too much shakeup there, but there's going to be some shakeup this week because we got some top 10 matchups coming up here in week 7. And what better way to start off than the Monitors game of the week, Westaco High visiting the Edinburgh Sabercats.
Yeah, the Sabercats and the Panthers are going to get going on Thursday evening. They're the focus game of the week, focused on Thursday, and I think that's going to turn out to be like an aerial showdown of a passing game of two great quarterbacks coming in with two successful years behind them at quarterback, and then coming off two very big wins. Wesco Panthers defeated the Edinburgh High Bobcats 28-0 in a shutout, and Vel also shut out their district foe, the Economy Jaguars, 45-0. So that's going to be a real good game, guys. AJ Sotelo, he's racking up big numbers in the passing game. Jacob Cavazos doing the same thing.
Yeah, these are two high-powered offenses that are going to go at it, and I expect to see a high-scoring game.
Definitely check out this comparison. When you compare the two quarterbacks, you got AJ attempting 133 passes with 84 completions. Cavazos, on the other hand, has 104 attempts with 65 completions and total yardage. This is crazy. Sotelo has 1,511 yards to Cavazos' 838. And when you look at the TDs, they're almost similar. Cavazos only down by 4, with AJ leading that category of 15 touchdown passes to Cavazos 11. In the interceptions category, AJ has 4 interceptions and Cavazos with 2. But what may define the game is the Wesco's running attack. Cavazos second in on the team, leading off the rush with 400 yards on the season, 6 touchdowns. Something you don't see very much with the Sabercats quarterback, where he's definitely comfortable in the pocket, throwing big tight spirals to the end zone.
Absolutely, and these are two of the brightest quarterbacks, two of the best quarterbacks here in the Rio Grande Valley squaring off, and this game could decide that District 31 6A champion. I know we're still a few games away from the end of the season, but these two high caliber teams going at it, something's got to give.
Yeah, something's got to give. I met up with the Panthers at 6 a.m. practice on Tuesday, and they were running on 6 cylinders, maybe even eight. I was with the SaberCats the day before on Monday afternoon. Those guys were on a high tempo practice game. But what was very interesting was the Panthers come in at 6 a.m. in the morning, turn on the lights at the stadium, Bobby Lackey Stadium. It looks like it's Friday night. It's cool. 6 a.m. They're throwing their passes. They're practicing their kicks. They're doing their offensive strategies and special team kickoffs. And it looked like what Coach Stroman says. This is their classroom. This is we're giving them as much of a game scenario like as possible for them to so they can work and get ready. So they coming off their bye week. They had 2 weeks to prepare for this game. 4-1 and overall, going up against a SaberCat team that hasn't lost a district game going back to maybe the 2014 season. Definitely, they've only lost two under the helm with Campbell. So Stroman coming in, he's going to want to make a statement. Cavazos and the guys don't want to let them down. Don't want to let them down. This is what we're calling a clash of the Titans.
Now, Raul, the last time we saw Vela in a game of the week, it was kind of a strange game. Lights going out a lot of times in Edinburgh. Strange affair looking back at it. But they've rolled to a couple big wins since, and this is going to be their first real big test since then. How do you think quarterback A.J. Sotelo and the SaberCats are going to fare in this matchup?
Well, AJ has experience, I think, above a lot of the. He has the experience of how to win, what it takes to win, and he's felt defeat. So I know it's going to be a great matchup. I don't think if the Wesco defense is able to maybe pick some of those balls out from under AJ's passing arm, that could be kind of detrimental for the SaberCats. But we'll have to wait and see. On last game, a dual threat player named Rodney Garza, who plays quarterback, he plays wide receiver, he's strong safety. He had 3 picks against the Edinburgh Condominiums and bobbled one off, which could have been a fourth in one game, which is kind of unprecedented. Would have set a school record. Mm-hmm. So if he's able to do that again, if he's able to see some daylight with the ball flying out of AJ's hand, that could be very threatening for the SaberCats. But John Campbell and the SaberCats have something very positive coming. They got Ronnie Garza coming back. We may not see Tyler Bailey in the game, but there's rumors that he may be coming back soon. After we've heard that he's going to be out for the season, a Texas University Christian commit. Mm-hmm. But there's rumors out there that college coaches want to see their guys playing, and I saw Bailey working in practice, making some moves. He was on the practice field, but definitely for sure, Ronnie Garza is going to be protecting AJ, and these are big guys. But it'll boil down to the defensive line for the Panthers, and we'll see what happens.
No doubt, those would be some big additions back for that Vela offense on the offensive front.
Yeah, and so often when you see these two high caliber offenses go against each other, it comes the winner of this game is decided by who makes that special teams play, who makes that play on the defensive end. You mentioned those turnovers that Ronnie had last week, so just going to be interesting to see who makes a play for their team, who will come out victorious, the SaberCats or the Panthers. That one is Thursday night at Richard Flores Stadium in Edinburgh. That is the Monitors game of the week. We will be there with video and game tracker coverage. You can follow us at rgvsports.com and follow us on Twitter, where we'll be providing in-game updates as that one goes on. So big action going on in 31-6A here in Week 7 between the SaberCats and the Panthers. And to keep that theme rolling, we got a big one here in District 16 5A Division 2 between the Sharyland High Rattlers and the Ed Couch Elsa Yellow Jackets. Sharyland High, they're 2-0 in district play. Ed Couch Elsa 1-1. and they opened up district play, of course, with that loss to Mercedes, 31-19. But last week they really make a statement with a 48-3 win over Valley View. So just a really dominant performance from the head coach last week. Jake Cardenas comes through with 3 touchdowns for that team. So they bounce back and they're ready to keep that thing rolling and move that win streak to 2. While the Sharyland High Rattlers, they opened district play with a big win on the road over Laredo Figueroa. Then last week, they end up coming through with a big win over Roma, holding them to just 3 points as well in a 43-3 win. So these two offenses are a little different, but what they want to do is run the ball. Ed Couch also from under center, and Sharyland High in that spread attack, running jet sweeps and getting the ball in the hands of the playmakers. So going to be a good game here between the Yellow Jackets and the Rattlers here in District 16 5A Division 2. And this game features the top 2 defenses in that district. Ed Couch also number 1, Sharyland High number 2. So this is going to be a good one. I don't know how high scoring it'll be. Not definitely, most likely not as high scoring as Edinburgh Vela.
Yeah, that one could have looks in the 40, maybe 50s range.
Absolutely, and
this shootout.
This one could end up being just a defensive slugfest. Just 2 really good units on the defensive side of the ball, stepping up to kind of lead their teams into this one. So going to be fun to see these defenses go at it, how they plan on stopping each of these offenses, and who will emerge victorious here in District 16 5A Division 2. And back to the 6A level, Andrew, I know you got a big one coming up. A team trying to stay perfect here in Week 7.
That's right. Friday night, I'll be in McGowan for a showdown between the McGowan Row Warriors and the PSJ North Raiders. This one has all the makings of a great game, and really the storylines in this one all boil down around the quarterback position. For North, it's going to be all about can Isaiah Ronhell bounce back after a tough week last week. He had 5 turnovers in that game against the Bears, 4 interceptions, a couple of them late, which, not to play the what-if game, but could have given them a chance to tie that one up at the end, potentially take the lead at the end. The Raiders have been trying to figure out if they're primarily a pass-first or run-first offense, and I think we're going to see that develop this week against a road defense that's been spotty at times in terms of yardage. But on the other side, you got to talk about senior quarterback Jonas Ortiz for the Warriors. The guy has been playing out of his mind recently. He's putting up numbers that really aren't matched or even come close to anyone else in this district. He's completing 77% of his passes through the first half of the season, guys, leading the district with 16 touchdown passes. And he had just a phenomenal game against Juarez Lincoln last week. That was a 44-12 win for the Warriors. He completed 13 of 14 passes for 217 yards and 4 scores and didn't even play the fourth quarter. That's a pretty incredible stat line for a team that's been bit by the injury bug pretty severely early on. But they've had guys step up everywhere, whether it's two-way linebackers, Josiah Alonso and Derek Luna, who have become big pieces of the passing game, or tight end Gustavo Cruz, who remains maybe the best big play threat for the Warriors this deep into the season.
Absolutely. So a really good game there. McAllen Roll Warriors trying to stay perfect, and PSG North looking to bounce back after that loss last week to their rivals. So that should be a good one on tap. That is Friday night. And where is that one being played?
That'll be in McAllen, and this is a big one for Rowe because they're starting a real tough stretch now of the 4 playoff teams from this district last year in the next 5 weeks. So who knows? The Warriors could come out 5-5 or 10-0 or anywhere realistically in between. Should tell us a lot about what they're made of here in these next 5 weeks, though.
Absolutely, and before we take a break, we're going to take a visit to District 32, 6A, and to touch on this, we got the Battle of the Arroyo coming up this week. San Benito and Harlingen High, just one of the greatest rivalries here in the Rio Grande Valley, and this is a top 10 matchup according to the Rgvsports.com poll. Harlingen High tied for number 3, San Benito tied for number 10, and what a way to start District 32 6A action with these two teams who have proven that they can ball just going at it right away. We got two quarterbacks, Jaime Galvan for the Cardinals, Smiley Silva for the Greyhounds. It should be a good game to see these two just powerhouses there in 32-6A just collide here in Week 7. It's going to be a good one between them, and that one is Friday night in Harlingen at Bogus Stadium. So going to be a good matchup between the Cardinals and the Greyhounds here in Week 7. So with that said, we're going to go ahead and take a quick break with a word from our sponsor, the J. Gonzalez Law Firm, and we'll be back with more football talk after the break.
Jay Gonzalez, a lawyer with thousands of cases won and millions rewarded in settlements. Over 15 years of experience and recipient of numerous awards. If you've been in an accident, there's only one name to remember, Jay Gonzalez.
Thank you to our sponsor, the J. Gonzalez Law Firm. As always, thank you for sponsoring us and for participating in the weekly pick'em that we got going on every week in the Monitor newspaper. And so to keep this Week 7 preview action going, we're going to start at the 5A level, taking a visit to District 16 5A Division 1. The Mission Veterans Patriots and Donna High, those are two teams coming off a bye. They will meet here in Week 7. Mission Veterans 4-0 in district play, the last unbeaten in that 10-team district. And Donna High, their last time they took the field, they finally got in the win column after an 0-3 start in district play with that win over Brownsville Lopez and what ended up being a shootout. So quarterback Avery Bowen really got going in that game, really looked good. And so it's going to be interesting to see both those teams coming off a week off, coming off a bye week. And Mission Veterans looking to defend their district title and finish unbeaten for the second straight year. And Donna High standing in their way here in Week 7. That'll be a good one. That is Friday night at Tom Landry Stadium in Mission. And then to keep it in that district, we got PSJ Southwest paying a visit to Brownsville Lopez. Brownsville Lopez 0-5 on the year. And PSJ Southwest, after that 3-0 start, the first in program history, they've dropped their last two in district play. So PSJ Southwest, of course, looking to bounce back after two straight losses. Brownsville Lopez just looking to get in the win column for the first time this year. Those are two teams. PSJ Southwest never made the playoffs at 2-2. Their season can kind of go two ways. So that should be a good one. Both teams fighting for their lives in District 16 5A Division 1. And to touch on two other games in District 16 5A Division 2. Of course, we got Edcott and Sharyland going at it Friday night, but we also got Valley View paying a visit to Sharyland Pioneer. Of course, Pioneer and that offense, quarterbacked by Eddie Lee Marburger, just unstoppable. They scored 50 points in 4 straight games. They're just one of the top offenses, not only in the Rio Grande Valley, but in South Texas. And so just a really good team, and Valley View looking to bounce back out after a rough loss last week at the hands of Edcott Elsa. And then, of course, we got the last game in District 16 5A D2. Laredo Figueroa paying a visit to Roma. Roma 1-1 in district play. They open with a win over Valley View in their district opener. But last week they get beat up by Sharyland High. So Roma and Figueroa about to meet two of these teams, trying to avoid that bottom of the standings there in District 16 5A D2, and that should be a good one over there in Stark County at Gladiator Arena on Friday night. And now let's stop by back at District 36A. Andrew, what you got going on this week?
So I'll be at a game Thursday night at Tom Landry Stadium in Mission between the visiting Juarez Lincoln Huskies from La Jolla and the Mission Eagles. This one should have some extra intrigue because we know that Mission offense has kind of been trying to reshape and reapproach how they do things these past couple weeks with some injuries to consider. Talking, of course, about senior running back Tito Maranta, who's out for the season after receiving foot surgery last week. And we wish Maranta and the Eagles all the best here from the Rgvsports Show, of course. The Eagles might also be without wide receiver Stevie Villarreal in this one, with what I'm told are some hand injury concerns. But that could be a real damaging loss for them, not just offensively, but in the special teams game too. He's been very effective in the punt return game, also in the kick return game to a certain extent. But, he sets up a lot of those scoring drives for Mission by a flipping field position. So that'll be a little bit more of a nuanced hole to fill. But it looks like the Eagles so far have found some answers at running back in the form of Damian Cortez and Rene Anzaldua. Those two joining existing backfield mainstay Andrew Maldonado. All of them chipped in the receiving and rushing game last week. So it kind of looks like Mission has lucked their way into a three-headed monster now instead of a two-headed one. For the Huskies, it's going to be all about getting the ball to wide receiver Luis Flores. He had a huge game in the district opener, had another big one against Rowe last week, had a long touchdown called back for a tripping call, something out of his control, but certainly disappointing if you're the Huskies. We'll have to see if they can ride his big playability to an upset win on Thursday. And then you look around the district for some Friday night games. You have the Mackay Bulldogs traveling to La Jolla to face off against the Coyotes over there. Eddie Villarreal coming off his biggest rushing game of the season so far for the Coyotes. Will certainly look to keep that going. La Jolla ran for more yards against McColloch Memorial in that last game. The Memorial had given up on the ground to 4 opponents combined entering that one. So you certainly have to feel like things are trending in the right direction over there for Coach Ruben Farias and the guys. The question is going to be defensively, though, because, how competitive can you really be if you're giving up 70 or 62 points a game? That'll be the key. On the other side, you got to look at sophomore Hunter Curl, continue to develop. He's looked really sharp these past 2 weeks as the primary quarterback. 420 passing yards, no interceptions, and 3 touchdowns. He was a big reason why they forced Mission into overtime last week, and it'll be interesting to see if he can get the Bulldogs their first win now in week 3 as the primary signal caller. And then the other big one in this district this week is McColloch Memorial and PSJ High, and you got the top running back in the district versus the top receiver in the district on the other side. We're talking, of course, about McColloch Memorial's Campbell Spates and PSJ High's Miguel Flores. Spates has just been electric so far, guys. He's almost doubling up the second-place rusher in this district. He's got 1,200 yards through 5 games, 17 touchdowns. He's really just lighting it up, and it seems like if you really want any chance of hanging with Memorial, you've got to start with containing him out of the backfield. But then on the other side, you look at Flores. He's maybe the most dangerous wide receiver, definitely in the district, maybe in the area. He had a huge game last week against a stingy PSJ North defense. Team high 9 catches for 125 yards and a touchdown. He had almost as many receiving yards as North had passing yards on the night. And, with that pass-happy offense the Bears like to run, it's almost impossible to keep the ball out of Flores' hands for a whole night. So kind of like Spates, you just got to hope you can limit him to those underneath routes, although Memorial has struggled against quarterbacks who throw the ball so far this year. So it'll be interesting to see if the Mustangs defense can overcome that and beat the Bears on the road.
Going to be a good one to see 2 of the best playmakers in that District 36A going at it. That is McColloch Memorial at PSJ High on Friday night. Going to be a good one there in 36A. And to round this out, Raul, we started with District 31-6A.
Yeah.
We're going to end with District 31-6A. What games do you got your eye on going on in your district?
So we got 2 Friday night games. Edinburgh High and Edinburgh North are going to go at it. So J.J. Liha is definitely, after a disappointing loss, shutout to the Westfield Panthers, said he's going back to the drawing board, going to get his quarterback, Roland Albergo, ready, and his running back, Shannon Woodward, and the team back in full gear so they can come and have a good contest against the Cougars. Damon Gonzalez and the Cougars have been they're coming off their first win of the season. They defeated Donna North, who stays on. We extend their losing streak to 6, but DJ Leo is not letting this matchup go through lightly because Edinburgh North does have some weapons with they got a quarterback in Michael Rodriguez who's just had a good game against the Warriors and the Chiefs, and he had over 100 yards passing. He connected with 2 touchdowns to this quarterback. His receivers, I think Quintanilla and Borrego.
Mm-hmm.
So both those guys are racking up some touchdowns, and they're coming into this game with a good passing attack, and they have a running game that's not bad itself.
Yeah, going to be a good one there, and that's a rivalry game we got here. Edinburgh North, Edinburgh High coming at you Friday night. Always fun when the Bobcats and Cougars go at it for bragging rights in the city of Edinburgh. And then you mentioned one other game you got going on, and in this one, you just talked about it a minute ago, Donna North.
Donna North and Edinburgh Economies will be going at it on the gridiron at Benny Lanton Stadium.
Mm-hmm. Benny LaPrada,
Benny LaPrada Stadium in Donna. Good field. It should have a good crowd. Both teams looking for a win. And Gabe Pena, head coach for the Jaguars, has been stressing and just been working his quarterback Nathan Garcia, who has been successful and at least racking up 100+ yards in the air, completing touchdown passes. So that'll be a good game. Brandon Escobar on the other side with the Chiefs is off to probably his best start of the season. He had close to 200 yards passing, connected for 3 touchdown passes. So if they're playing like they did against their last game against Edinburgh North, they may have a chance to win.
Yeah, good to see Donna North putting up some points. Will they put up enough to beat Edinburgh Economies here in Week 7? That is to be determined, but that should be a good one between two teams fighting for their lives there in 31-6A. So that wraps up the Week 7 preview talk. This has been the RGV Sports Show, and you can catch us. Don't forget to follow us on social media at RGV Sports. At all the games we're at, we're providing you a play-by-play coverage that can be found at rgvsports.com, also on Twitter by our various social media accounts. So with that said, we will see you out at these games Thursday, Friday, and Saturday. We're looking forward to it, hyped up for some big matchups. The game of the week coming at you Thursday. That's Edinburgh Vela, Westaco High. That's going to be a good one to kick off Week 7 football here in the Rio Grande Valley. So with that said, thank you for joining us. This has been the RGV Sports Show Week 7 preview. We'll see you again next time.
Jay Gonzalez, a lawyer with thousands of cases won and millions rewarded in settlements. Over 15 years of experience and recipient of numerous awards. If you've been in an accident, there's only one name to remember: Jay Gonzalez.